Welcome to Martha Runs the World, a podcast with a new take on running, fitness, and all things health-oriented. I'm Martha Hughes, your host, and each week I present a new topic that is of interest to all runners. Hi, and welcome to episode 286 of Martha Runs the World. Thank you so much for joining me. I truly appreciate it. First off, I want to apologize for my voice. It's a little scratchy. I am just getting over this cold. Yes, it's finally going away, but it's in that annoying phase where my voice is scratchy. There's just a bunch of sinus stuff. I don't feel bad at all, but it's there. It's like, hi, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. Still around. It's like, yeah, I know. So you can tell, right? All right. But we continue on. We go forward, we continue moving, we don't stand still. All right. This week, I'm putting together a whole bunch of stuff that I've covered before, but was kind of put together or was kind of separate in all bunch of different episodes that I've done over the years, and I wanted to conglomerate them in one big episode. So I'm calling this Stop Doing These Things, but Do These Other Things. Something like that. I'll come up with a much catchier title when this is released. So you'll see the title when it's released. We runners have a lot of habits that affect our running negatively. And you and I know what they are. Each one of us has different habits that we know aren't helping us. And I saw a meme that someone's posted on Facebook the other day that said, you know what your goal is, you know what helps your goal, you know the habits that aren't helping your goal. Well, stop doing those habits that aren't helping your goal. Yeah, okay. I know it's not that simple, but it kind of is. You know what's not helping, so stop the stuff that's not helping. It's simple on paper, I realize. Much simpler on paper than doing actually. So we're going to try to hone in some stuff that aren't helping us. And it's a general thing. I know not all of us do all of these things, but some of us do some of these things. So we're going to go that way and work through the list. Some of the stuff is just careless things that we don't think about. Maybe we've never spent the time to say, is this helping me or not? And some of the things are very important. And they can really sabotage our hard work. Running is fun, of course, but it's also hard work. We work really hard for our efforts. We put a lot of time and effort, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally into our running. Why not make it as good as we can? So that is what this is about, is to hone in on what these negative habits are, and maybe to not, if we can't eliminate them entirely, help them maybe not hurt as much as they have. After my accident last December, all my plans for 2024 were gone. All the races that I was going to do were gone. Everything was gone. Everything I planned to do was gone. I planned to do my first 50-mile race in February. That was gone. I planned to do my first 100K race in June. That was gone. Everything gone. Gone. My whole horizon, my calendar, everything was just gone in less than 10 seconds. Boom, gone. I, of course, was very happy with the achievement that my friends were making. They seemed to be going forward, having incredible races, successes, and I was happy for them. But it also made me feel worse about my own lack of success, my own lack of forward movement, my own lack of, anything. So that's the first thing on the list. Stop comparing yourself to others. The first two are the most important, so I thought I'd just jump in first and talk about these before anything else, because they really are the most important. And as I healed and got back into running, I realized that I felt so bad because I was comparing myself to people who were finished their first 50 miler, who finished their first 100K. And I wanted that so badly for myself that I knew that no, neither one of those was going to happen this year. None of that was going to happen this year for me. I had a different path and a different way. So I couldn't compare myself to someone else because they didn't have the same experiences that I did. And when I eventually go back to finishing my first 50 miler, my first 100K, it's going to be a different experience than the people who finished their first ones. Mine is a different path. It's a different journey. So there's no reason for me to compare to someone else who's on their different course. So I realized that, and I understand that, and I realized that my comparison to others was just part of me feeling sorry for myself. It really didn't have anything to do with the other person per se. It didn't have any hate towards the other person. I love all my fellow runners. It didn't have anything to do with that. It really was me feeling sorry for myself and not really looking at the big picture. We're all on different paths. We all are on different courses. Some of us take longer. And the thing is that someone may seem to be making fast progress and seem to be having an easy time. But that doesn't mean that they're going to have an easy time their whole life. Maybe they had a wonderful childhood where everything was incredibly great and things came easier to them, but that doesn't mean later on down the road things aren't going to be rocky for them. And we had our rocky times early on so that later on in life it's going to be better for us. Everything is relative. Each person's path is different. What I've gone through, I don't think a lot of people could go through, to be honest. My childhood was not easy. I don't think a lot of people could handle it and be out in one piece. I barely made it myself. So we all have a different way of doing things, a different life to live. And that's why you can't really compare to anyone else, because no two of us are the same. No two's journey is the same. I realize that, and I understand that, and I realize that my bad feelings was only because I was feeling sorry for myself. And the thing is that after I healed, I got back into running, my attitude towards running changed. I didn't have that intense drive towards always finishing a longer race, always finishing a different race. That's gone now. I actually think my view of running is healthier than it was before. Yes, I love running, I still do, but it's a lot more toned down than it was before. It isn't this, oh, I have to do this, I have to finish this distance, I have to do this. Yes, I would like to finish at least 100-mile race in my lifetime, but I know that I will, and I know that will come later. I don't have this drive that I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. No, I will do that. It will happen. So I think that's a much healthier way of doing things. And the other thing that is on the top of my list is stop comparing yourself to your younger self. Everyone does that, I believe. And I think this is harder than even the first one. Yes, we compare ourselves to other people, but we also compare ourselves to our younger self. And I believe this would be harder, especially if you ran in your earlier days. I ran in my 20s. Of course, I was faster then. Yeah, and most people are. I was thinner then. Absolutely. And I could lose weight in a flash. Of course, I didn't eat a whole lot back then. There were days where I ate basically nothing. So do I want to have that kind of eating disorder again? No. So no, I don't want to go back to that. So I don't really compare myself to my younger self at all anymore, except that I wish I could lose weight quickly, but then I go back and think about how much I didn't eat. Okay. I don't want to go back to drinking like I did in my 20s. So no. So that stops that. But I would imagine it would be bad if you compare yourself to if you ran track in school, in high school or college, and you think about how fast you were back then and how not fast you are now. You were a different person back then. Your main focus was probably running. Your whole life revolved around your running, your racing. Now you have other things going on. Maybe you have a family, you have a job, you have outside interests. And as we get older, we get slower. And maybe you have more fun now than you did in high school or college. Racing a lot of times in school is not fun. It's competitive. It's stressful. It's hard. And you don't have as much fun doing it as you think you did when you look back at the years gone by. A lot of times when we think back at our memories, we don't think about all the hardships that we have. We think about all the fun that we had. Oh, yeah, those were good times. But were they really? I don't know. There's a lot of times that I had when I was young. Yeah, we had our good times. We sure did. But boy, did we have some bad times too. There were some rough times when I was in school. I mean, I loved college. Don't get me wrong. College was great. I loved going to school. I got great grades in college. I enjoyed it. But it was also a hard time for me in college. My mom was dying of cancer. My boyfriend and I didn't get along all the time. And it was just a hard time. We didn't have any money. And it was a really, really hard time in my life. I was pushed in so many directions. I was way too thin, but my life was pushed so many directions. I didn't know what was up or down most of the time. So it was a very, very difficult time in my life. As I think back to my running in my 20s, my 30s, and now, my running now isn't great. I'm still getting back into it. I'm still trying to find my pace and trying to get comfortable with trails again. But I must say that I'm much more comfortable with things than I ever was in my 20s and 30s. I'm much more comfortable with myself than I was back then. That's for sure. I was never comfortable with myself then. So if we're really honest with ourselves and take a real honest look and compare ourselves with our younger self and not just look at how much faster we are, how much faster we were, how much thinner we were, if we look at the other stuff too, maybe it isn't such a great look back as we thought it was, right? All right. Those are the two heavyweights. Now, there are other things that we need to stop doing if we want to make our running the best it can be. Not being prepared training-wise for your race. Now, there are those one-off races that we have where we're unprepared. Maybe we got sick, we weren't able to train right, maybe we signed up at the last minute, maybe we weren't able to get the training in that we wanted to. And that happens. If you've had enough time to get in the training, but for some reason you didn't, or you just underestimated what the race was, you might be suffering the whole time, especially if it's a longer race. It might be a sufferfest the entire time. Plan for your race. Plan for what type of race it is. If it's a hilly 50K with a lot of elevation gain, plan for that. Do the training for that. Don't do all your training on flat ground. It's not going to help you as much as it would if you have elevation. Now, if you live in a flat area, maybe if you can find a few flights of stairs to go up and down, or a freeway overpass, or something with elevation on it, or something to do the uphill and downhill, you have to find something to help you. Or if you can drive to some hills and do hills, find something. But sufferfests are not fun, and you don't want to spend the whole race just hating it. And we all have done that, haven't we? Being unprepared the morning of the race. That's kind of a sucky one too. You can be very prepared the night before the race. So when you get up that morning, groggy, you can have everything ready so that your very asleep mind doesn't have to think. Sometimes if you're driving to a race, you have to wake up at 3 or 4 in the morning, and you may have to drive an hour or two to get to the race start. Or if the race starts at 4 a.m., you have to get up at 2 or 1:30 or something. So make sure and have everything ready the night before you go. Have your clothes all set out. Some people do that flat runner thing and take a picture of it if you want to do that. I don't do that, but if you like to do that, that's up to you. just have everything all ready. Have your Google Map directions all set up in your phone if you do that. Have everything all ready to go. Have your coffee all ready so that you can just get that cup going first thing in the morning. If you drink coffee, good Lord, who doesn't? Have everything all set up so that when you are ready to go, don't forget something. It's really important to be prepared. And along those lines, stop signing up for races that you aren't prepared to do. If you don't think you can be prepared for a race, even though it's a race you've always wanted to do, then don't sign up for it. Wait till next year when you can have enough time to prepare for it. The race will be there. And if it's not there, there will be another race like it. So it's okay to skip a year. It's all right. It's just fine. Do it next year. And here's something that I've seen before, and I know I've been cranky at aid stations, and I apologize, is that don't be mean to aid station volunteers or any volunteers along the course. Be nice to everybody and keep saying thank you. You will thank yourself later on for being nice because it will help you along the way. I guarantee the nicer you are to the volunteers, the better your race will be. It's karma. It's a karma thing. So just be nice to every volunteer along the way, and it will help you in your race. Stop being afraid to run by yourself, especially on trails. Avoid all that exploitive crime stuff that talks about females getting in trouble running by yourself. It's nonsense. It's a bunch of crap. I can't stand it. And it's always guys. Will say, women shouldn't run alone. Women shouldn't be on trails alone. Well, that's crap. Here's the bottom line. With me, an exception to the rule, the vast majority of those on trails who were injured, missing, or killed are males. And yes, they are the majority who are out there, but statistically talking, they take that into consideration, and men are more likely to have something happen to them. Guys are just less safe. They take more risks, so they are the ones who are more likely to be hurt, not females. So this whole BS about women shouldn't go out by themselves is just crap. It's just a way to make us scared and to keep us from enjoying our lives. Really. So stop falling for it. It's just pure nonsense. I mean, okay, don't be stupid. Don't listen. If you're on a trail, don't listen to music. And I know women who listen to music really loud and can't hear anything around them. So don't do that. Don't be dumb. But also, don't be afraid. Be strong. Take care of yourself. And go do what you want to do and stop letting people make you afraid. The media, certain members of our society, like us to be afraid. They like to keep us afraid. So turn off anything. Don't listen to anyone who wants to keep you afraid. Stop buying your running shoes at big box stores if you haven't been properly fitted. Now, if you're just starting to run, go to a running shoe store and let them know that I want to start running, but I need to get my feet fitted. And they will help you get fitted. Stop pushing your friends into doing races they aren't prepared to do. And I know a couple people who do this. So they seem to, they're really, I know their hearts are in the right place, but maybe their friends or their family members aren't ready to do those long races. And maybe the best thing for their friends or family is to get better at the shorter races. I mean, once you've done one distance, the answer isn't always to do a longer distance. Once you've done 150K, the answer isn't just to do 50 miles. Do a few 50Ks. Get better at it. Get better. Get your time better. Then maybe do a 50 mile or do a couple 50 milers. Don't just jump into the next distance, especially if it takes you 2 days to do a 50 miler or 2 days to do 100K. No. Get better at it and then move ahead. Don't just keep jumping into longer distances. That's my opinion, of course. Stop starting races too quickly. I see this a lot with younger runners. They get excited in the moment and they just zip out there really fast. Well, the thing is, though, that they're going to be all tired, and those of us in the back of the pack will probably pass them up later in the race. It's just a known thing. If you start out too quickly, you might get too tired and you might wind up at the end of the race, at the end of the pack and the end of the race. Now, once you're an established runner, you can understand the difference between real injury pain and little aches and pains. If you're a new runner, you don't know the difference. So I would say if you feel any kind of pain, I would stop. If you're a beginning runner, if you're an established runner, you know what little niggles are, little aches and pains are, as opposed to really big pain. So if you feel really big pain, stop. If it's just little aches and pains that are just regular stuff, don't worry about it. Not getting enough rest. This is something that I constantly harp on. Runners need rest. You need to sleep. Now, elite runners get a lot of sleep. If running is your only job, elite runners will sleep maybe 8 to 10 hours a night, plus they get a nap in the day. They use their bodies a lot. Physically, they exert a lot of energy, so they need a lot of rest. But we can't do that if we work all day. So I would say try to get to bed earlier. If you're a late night person, try to get to bed at least a half an hour earlier so that you can get enough rest, because a lot of people give up their sleep for running, and that you really can't and do it healthy. You really have to get enough sleep. All right, now that's enough of the negativity. We're going to get into some positive stuff now. These are things that I hope you keep doing. Just because you don't think you're making any progress, do keep going forward, even if it's slower than you ever thought you would go. When I was down and out with my injury, I wasn't sedentary. I mean, yeah, maybe I felt like I wasn't doing anything, but really, I was moving forward. My attitude was changing. I kept doing the podcast. I never stopped doing the podcast, so I was moving forward, even if I didn't realize it. I wasn't stationary, is what I'm trying to say. I wasn't stationary at all. I was moving at a snail's pace, true, but I was continued to move forward. Stick to your own race distance. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. If all you want to run are 5Ks, then good for you. That's what you want to run, and that's what you like doing. No one else should be concerned with that. If you don't like racing at all, and all you want to do is run around a track, then that's awesome. Then go for it. Then do it. Then do it, and do it proudly. Don't let anyone else make you feel bad. And what drives me crazy are these, and they're always young guys. They always are. They're young guys in their 20s who say that if you run 50Ks, if you're not an ultra runner, you have to finish distances longer than 50Ks to be an ultra runner. And that's hogwash. It's like, knock it off. You want to make yourself feel better to put down others? What are you, in 10th grade or something? Give me a break. I mean, that's just pure silliness as far as I'm concerned. I read this stuff and I laugh. It's like, you have a tiny little ego if you have to put down someone else to make yourself feel better. It's the silliest thing I've ever heard. Do reach out to running friends if you need to. Don't be afraid to ask for help. And this goes for any part of your life. Not all of us feel good all of the time. Sometimes we feel down, and sometimes we need help. So don't be afraid to ask for help. It's rough times right now out there. We can help out each other. So be open for someone who says, I'm just not feeling it right now and I need a friend. Yeah, and I'm there for you if you want to ever get in touch with me. Just message me. Instant Messenger is probably the best place to reach me. Email me if you want at martharunstheworld@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to talk to you. All right? Be flexible with your training schedule. Training schedule is not set in stone. You can switch it around if you need to. I have a weird work schedule, so I have to make a weird training schedule. It works for me. And it's like, I just finished reading this book that said, run like the elites do. So basically run every day, sometimes run twice a day. No, that's not going to work for me. I guess I'll never run like the elites do. I will never run every day, and I will never run twice a day. So nope, that's out of my possibilities. I'm not going to be doing that. But my training schedule works for me because of my work schedule. I have to make it work. Keep a running log. Running logs are really interesting things. I have tried to keep a running log. Sometimes I'm better at it than others. It's a great way to put down your runs, put down how long it was, where you ran, what it felt like, the weather, all that kind of stuff. You can put down anything you want in your running log. It's your log, so you can figure out how detailed you want it, how brief you want it, whatever you wanted it. It's yours to create. Strength train. Strength training is really, really important. And I'm always surprised about how little some runners do. If you want to keep your knees strong so they don't have problems, if you want to make sure and keep running, you need to strength train. And eat healthy. All the running in the world will not help you if you don't eat healthy. So make sure that you're eating right. And make the majority of your runs slow. Young runners hate running slow. They like to run fast. They think they're Olympic athletes and they need to make every run fast. I think they think they're the next Olympic track athlete or something like that. So they go out there and they blaze every run. And it's like, no, it's not really how you do it. And keep track of your shoes mileage. That's really important because you want to make sure and replace your shoes once they get to 300, 400 miles. You want to make sure and keep those up. And the most important item in the positive list is be kind to yourself. None of us are perfect all the time. Nobody has a perfect life. Everyone has flaws. And some are better at hiding their flaws than others. Some of us can't hide our stuff. We're just way too honest about that stuff. And you see our flaws right there out in public with everything else. I don't make myself look perfect on Facebook. Some people like to present perfect lives on Facebook, and they don't have perfect lives. That's a lie. That is a facade. No one has perfect lives. If someone only shows all their perfections on Facebook, they're hiding their flaws. And just realize that. I have no time for people who just show perfection. That's crap. It's like, nah, you ain't perfect. You got flaws, all that stuff like the rest of us. Show that too, and that makes me feel like you're vulnerable like everybody else. I don't like the illusion of perfection from some people. I don't have time for that. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about others. You know, if you have a bad run, if you didn't get out there because something came up that you couldn't avoid, just brush it off and go out and get your run in as soon as you can. The worst thing you can do is be negative on yourself. Oh, I suck. I can't get my run in. I suck. I did this. I suck. No. Stop that. Stop the negative talk. Don't say that about yourself. Just say, oh, well, I couldn't get it in today, but I'm going to go out tomorrow. Or I overate. I feel bad. I did this. I did that. But I'm going to start tomorrow and get it going tomorrow. So that's what you really need to do, is to stop the negative self-talk. Start the positive self-talk and be kind to yourself. We all need a little bit more kindness towards ourselves. I hear all the stuff about be kind, be kind, be kind, but I never hear people saying be kind to yourself. Kindness starts at home. If you're not kind to yourself, how in the world can you be kind to anybody else? If you're not kind to yourself and you're nice to other people, that's a lie. That's a facade. You have to be nice to yourself first, and then you can be nice to other people. All right? And I'm going to stop because my voice is giving out here. All right. So that is it for this week. Their website is martharunstheworld.com, and my email is martharunstheworld@gmail.com. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week. I'm going to go back out to run tomorrow because I'm feeling much better. And yeah, I had to take some days off because of this cold, but I'm back. All right. Anyway, that is it. And you know what I say. Until next week, let's tie up our shoelaces and go for a run.